Hello, my dudes, and welcome to season 2 of the Mikey and the Press Best podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm David.
And what are you herfing on?
I am herfing. I am enjoying.
Oh.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thanks
Thanks
for asking.
Thank you for asking what I'm herfing on.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know because I take the bands off my cigars.
Like a plebe.
Because so people don't, because I'm not pretentious about it, and I just, I took the band off yours. I'm sorry.
Violated my rights.
I did.
No consent.
And Illusion 88, the
Ooh.
original documents, one of my favorite go-tos, and we just got them at Aloni. Get them at Aloni.
No.
Aloni's the girl. 3370 Maury Avenue in Fremont, California.
They're paying you now or what? I didn't get the sponsor deal too?
No. But no, we just got them in with a couple of other Illusion stuff. So it's like one of my favorite. It's like one of my benchmarks for medium.
Yeah, I missed the 88 and 888.
Yeah.
Those are good.
For me, it's on label My Father 88. Those are my benchmarks for like medium cigars.
I'd be happy if they just had a shop with they're constantly stocking those things. I wouldn't be like, what's with the bills?
Yeah.
Like, I'll have some of that.
This one especially has kind of like a little bit more of that room note more than the My Father does.
Oh, yeah.
And not quite as much spice as the brown label does. But
yeah, that's the thing about Illusione. It has like a really good like room note. You can tell right away.
It's because don't they use a lot of like Yalapa Criollo and their shit?
Probably. I don't know.
I think that's why.
It's very distinct.
Yeah. What are you enjoying today? Tonight?
A Capaguan?
Capaguan guapo.
Guapo.
Guapo. I don't know.
It's muy guapo.
Really good?
Very handsome.
Oh, okay. Ooh. English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
So what you been up to this week? Pretty exciting week, I imagine.
Yeah, my mom was in town.
Yeah, ma.
Me ma.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I got a caravan. It's a Periwinkle blue.
Periwinkle blue.
Yeah. So yeah, my mom came into town, and she was here for 5 days, and I got a day off work on Sunday, and canceled my schedule, and basically just sat on the balcony with her for 5 days and like smoked.
What is the term she uses?
Which term?
She's just porch monkeying around.
Yeah, she porch monkeys. Well, that's the term I use.
I thought she would. I'm just porch monkeying around.
She used to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Back when we lived on the north side and we had actually had a porch, but my mom lives in an apartment complex on the second floor, and they basically she has one window that like overlooks a parking lot. And she really likes to sit outside and just be outside, whatever, in the somewhat segregated, enclosed area. And so I have a balcony, so that was good because she didn't really seem to want to do much while she was here. Like, Diana kept trying to like, do you want to go do stuff? And she's like, no, not really. I don't care.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, so we went, we went
think
out.
like the flight coming here just tuckered her. I was like, I don't have any energy to do anything.
Well, it was kind of funny because I think I might have told you this yesterday when we were talking off podcast, but Diana had like, we had went walking around, and Campbell or whatever, when I had a restaurant, we went walking around, and then, we came home, and then, we went out to, the next day, we went out to whatever, Santana Row or over by Valley Fair. And then Diana was like, well, maybe we could go over to like, downtown Palo Alto and like check that out. And I was like, what do you think? She's asking me, and I'm like, I don't know.
Nah.
I'm like, if I had to guess, I'm going to say that she doesn't want to do that. And I asked her, and she was like, I'm kind of fucking tired walking around. I mean, kids do it all the time. It's like, yeah, I get it. So we went to the Winchester Mystery
She lives
House.
in where, Tennessee, you said?
Tennessee, yes.
Okay.
Cleveland, Tennessee.
Cleveland, Tennessee,
yes. That's where.
Quite confusing.
Because there's also Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But one is the Midwest and one is not the Midwest. So, but yeah, so she's from there and lives there, and her ma lives there, and her sister lives there, and.
Oh, okay. Are they originally from that area, or are they?
No, my mom was born in Kalamazoo, but I don't know where her mom is originally from. She talks like she's from the South.
Their grandma?
Yeah, she says Tennessee. Down in Tennessee, like it rhymes with Hennessy. Tennessee. So, yeah, she's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't really get on with her that well. So.
Okay.
I don't really get on with anybody in my family. Well, there's like a few people that I like, and then everyone else.
Your uncle?
My uncle, my cousin Sabrina, my mom. Like, I get along with them well, and then most other people in my family I get along with fine, but I don't really keep in touch with. And then a couple people I don't get on with, and my mom's mom is one of those people I don't get on with.
Huh.
She's just like, She's like one of those, like, she always likes to act like she's my grandma when it's like, lady, I've seen you like 10 times in my whole life. You know,
okay.
like I don't even fucking know you. Huh. Why are you acting like you know me? It's like just really weird.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. I send you a birthday card every year, like when you were like 12. Like, okay, cool, great, you know, like, but.
Thanks, Gam Gam.
Yeah. What do I don't know you, lady. You're just a stranger with my genetics. But yeah, so that was most of my week, is just kind of hanging out with my mom and watching movies with her while she talked over them, which is always fun.
That's always fun.
And then dealing with Diana, like being all.
Was she like doting over your mom?
Well, my mom is pretty likable, but she's like, so I'm just really glad your mom likes me. Did your mom say anything about me? I'm like, yeah. Well, what did she say? I was like, well, you were sitting right there. And she's like, well, did she say anything else? I'm like, she likes you. Yeah, but what did she say? I'm like, you need to know this. I don't know, dude. I didn't take notes. She likes you. Isn't that what's important?
Yeah.
Like, you need to know. I was teasing her today. I was like, you're being kind of vain. You want me to like tease out details, make you feel good about yourself. It's I get that, but like, I wasn't paying that close of attention to like all the things that teasing out all the meaning of what she seems to like you. They thinks that you're a good lady, but that's not surprising because, you know, as it turns out, most people.
Wow, she's a real piece of shit.
It's just I hope she dies. No, because most people in my family don't have terribly discerning tastes when it comes to anything, and so the women that I select to date, by comparison, seem pretty okay by my family standards, and I think they're all just happy that anyone will have me. They're just like, you're just you here. Good day to you, madam. You are a saint.
I'm so glad. So David doesn't have to move in with me.
He just doesn't die alone. Some horrible,
like a homeless cat.
He has a
curl up in the car and just die in the engine.
Cantankerous incel. Like, yeah. So I
was so worried he's gonna be an incel.
Yeah. No. I think my mom had the opposite problem, like worrying that I would go the route of my dad.
Spread your seed.
Yeah, my dad was 15 when my mom got pregnant with my sister. So, and then and my mom was 21.
Well, your dad was 15.
My dad was 15. My mom was 21.
She lies on me young.
That's everybody in my family, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
On that side of the family, your mom's side, or is it both sides?
Just in both sides in general. Like they just kind of.
Are you from Afghanistan or?
So that's just like
child bride.
Yeah, pretty much. She was telling me her mom got pregnant at 13.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I was going through the litany of everybody in my family and my mom the other day, and my Aunt Judy, I think, is like the only one. My Aunt Pam has one kid on my dad's side, and my Aunt Judy has one kid on my mom's side. And my Aunt Judy is the only one with one kid who waited until she was older than 25 to have a kid.
Oh, wow.
And like my Aunt Pam, I think, was maybe about 25. Or maybe 26, and she has one kid, but everybody else has got like a litter of kids.
Yeah.
If they have kids.
Bunch of breeders.
Yeah. And so it's like...
That sounds crazy. Even like 25 sounds young to me. To start a family.
Yeah. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Crazy.
That's my family.
Yeah, I thought my mom had me young. Like she was 19.
Nope. That's just how old people had kids back then, man.
Yeah,
they just had kids when they were like 19 or 20, because that's just like the way they rolled. But no,
it doesn't feel as good, man.
No, my grandma, my mom's mom, she has 8 kids.
Whoa.
And she started having them when she was 13. And was like done having them by the time she was like 25.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So she basically was just pregnant for like a decade.
Yeah. That's rough on a person's body.
Just a decade straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like when I think about it, like, yeah, you were pregnant that's rough on you. So it kind of makes sense why you're kind of irritable for the rest of your life, because I would.
Oh, you're taking care of a brood like 5 years in. It's like, yeah, damn.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, back then, like this is my mother was a born mother because she's the oldest girl, So basically, she raised all of her
Ah,
siblings.
yeah.
So like that mother gene started with her when she was like 15,
Mhm.
14, 13.
Mhm.
She's like raised up all her brothers and sisters.
Oh, then it wasn't much of a thing when she had her own kids.
No, whatever. It's like, oh,
Whatever.
I have an excuse to ignore you people now. I have my own kids to take care of.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that, and so it was fun. But she's more or less the same. Played some Yahtzee. She taught Diana how to play Yahtzee.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. It's not a game that I play that much, but my mom really likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught her how to play Catan. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And you told me she won the first game.
She won the first game.
That's pretty
She
cool.
did. It was, yeah.
I must be the greatest.
Uh-huh. She was like, I like that game.
Mm-hmm.
I like it more because I won.
Yeah.
Like,
this game's bullshit.
that's how her brother is.
Yeah.
We played like 20 games in a row with him, and he's never even come close to winning. Lead, and then it'd be like, I got this. And then he's just like, what happened?
Oh,
Lost.
I got swept, what?
Yeah, pretty much. Gets like a couple points under his belt. He's like, because it's not like a game with a lot of points. You get 10 points and you start with 2, so you only need to get 8 points in the game.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get like a couple, and that'll be it, the whole game.
Yeah.
So he'll have like 4 or 5 points while we have still have 2. But then at the end of the game, I'll have 10, Diana will have 8, and he'll have 4.
That's almost the equivalent to like you're playing a poker tournament and you get like chip lead in the first or second round, but you don't do shit the rest of the time. You just get chipped away the whole time. It's like, I had chip lead.
I got chip lead early. It's like,
So
yeah, what did you do with that?
yeah.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You fucked up. It's stupid. You suck. But what kept your week busy? That I didn't really talk to you that much this week, so I don't really know what you did.
Yeah. Basically, I just started to do the Duolingo, that phone app, teaches you languages and shit.
Yeah, Diana did it for French.
Yeah, I'm doing it for Japanese.
Oh.
And it's like, because it's their written shit is not comparable to English.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fucking hard to memorize that shit. Like, squiggly line, straight squiggly. Ka. All right, got that.
Yeah.
Squiggly line, straight line, squiggly line. Ja. Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Diana's problem was that she basically got proficiency on Duolingo,
Mm-hmm.
and the next step after that is to actually start talking to people, right? So
Oh, they tell you to do that, or just like,
it's just like the thing the app will tell you that you're basically like maxed out on the app, that you're that you're proficient, but you're not fluent.
Yeah.
And
You can probably get around.
Yeah, so the next step would be to have conversations with people, not just understand a sentence here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was doing that for a minute. She joined some French conversation group.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, but as it turns out, it's just kind of where a bunch of divorcees go to pick up on young girls, apparently.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's like, I'm just trying to learn French. I'm not trying to get a date.
Yeah, but it's the romantic language.
Yeah, so she's like, I went to a couple of them, and it just seemed like she was like, it really was good though, because he's talking to me, and I didn't really understand a lot he said, but she's like, I remember the word for boyfriend really quickly, right? So they're like, oh, how do I fit this into a sentence? Applesauce. My boyfriend likes applesauce.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So yeah, from what I understand, it's you kind of max out. It takes, I think it took her. I mean, French is obviously a lot easier than Japanese, and she already knew a little bit of French.
Yeah.
So I think it was she was doing it every day for about 6 months before she got proficiency. But I would imagine probably if she didn't know any French, it probably would have taken 8 to 10 months. For Japanese, I'd probably add a year to that.
Yeah.
It's just a lot harder of a language.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's fun. Been trying to just, take my morning dumps, play some Duolingo, and then.
What prompted Japanese online? Be like, man, all these cute girls are Japanese. I gotta learn some Japanese.
No,
words.
I don't know. It was just random. It was like, because it's sitting on the corner of my phone. I'm like, well, yeah, I forgot Duolingo. And I was doing the Spanish thing, but I don't know why I didn't. I was like, why don't I try something totally different? Japanese, why not? That's where I'm at.
Well, see, unlike people in the Midwest, so I took Russian in college.
Uh-huh.
There are no fucking Russian people in the Midwest, not really.
Wow.
But at least there are Japanese people out here. If you took Japanese when you lived in the Midwest, there's no use for it, because you would never meet anybody that was Japanese.
Yeah.
That only spoke Japanese.
Yeah. Well, fortunately enough that they have enough media you can consume a lot of Japanese like media. Because like I've heard the similar stories of people that live abroad that want to learn English. They just watch American television.
Yeah,
and
the
then
subtitles on.
yeah, the subtitles on, and they have like a really good accent at times.
Oh, you could watch a lot of Akira Kurosawa movies and maybe be able to follow along.
Nane?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
He's like the only Japanese director I really can name.
I can watch a bunch of anime. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, yeah, I guess Miyazaki is Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And same thing with what's his name, Takata or whatever, the guy that just died a couple years ago. Grave of the Fireflies guy that was like the other Studio Ghibli guy. That
Yeah, I
wasn't-
know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I forgot it already. I don't know how I forgot it. He's a great director.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's cool. How's it going? How far? Like 3 words yet?
I already know how to count. Ich ni san. Got 3
Words.
Yeah. What else have I been doing? Been watching. Chris got me into watching this Netflix series called Mars. It's a kind of interesting take on like a sci-fi. It's like half documentary, half sci-fi. Basically, they tell the story of people going to Mars. It begins in the year 2033, and them beginning to colonize Mars. Then they go back in the like documentary style, telling you the story of how they develop all these things, all these studies they have to do to get to where these people in the the fiction of the story to get to Mars. And
Like
then
what they would have to do, or what they
what they
did.
did.
What
And-
they did.
And then they're
Okay.
basing all the science fiction stuff around it.
So I mean, it's all fiction. It's not like it's just a documentary style in the fiction world where they're like explaining to you.
Well, it's
how they got-
non-fiction because it's real stuff. Because they talk about SpaceX, how they did some certain studies.
Okay,
and all
okay.
that stuff.
So they are using
Yes, they're using
real life stuff and then kind of like postulating a fantasy future where you could go to Mars
Mhm.
based on like the
actual science of today, and
Got
maybe like projecting a little bit with technology.
I got you.
So that was pretty fun to watch. Some of the drama stuff, I'm kind of lukewarm on it, but in general, it's a pretty fun show to watch. I've just been watching a couple episodes while I'm working here at the shop, and I've been enjoying it. And I just finished season 1. I didn't know there was 2 seasons, but there's 2 seasons, so I've been going through that stuff. They talk about space madness and some of the
That's
like
the best episode of Ren and Stimpy, by the
yes, that was disturbing watching that as a child.
Yeah.
But they had like cool little sections where they had like a Russian experiment. They call it Mars 500. And they basically lock these dudes up in tubes like they're in a spaceship and just let them do stuff. They have tasks to do and like act like they're actually going to Mars, and like the psychological like effects of just being cramped in and being there for 500 days.
That's the first episode of the Twilight Zone.
Oh, is it?
It's like how
Yeah.
crazy people will go if you just isolate them from humanity.
Yeah.
After.
And it's interesting too because they had like the people that do train astronauts were the test subjects, and they're saying like I think it was 2 out of the 8 people had no like any ill effects of being isolated, but the rest were just like either just anxiety and all that stuff. And these guys train astronauts, so they it's not like they're just Joe Schmo off the street. Oh, I'm just gonna get locked up. That's cool. I stay home by myself. But no, that usually doesn't work that way.
Well, I mean, just because you're aware of what happens doesn't mean that you necessarily have any defenses against it.
Yeah, because it's a weird thing. Because the idea of it is that you're an astronaut. You're trained to do all these things. You understand what's going to happen, and even if you try to like take a bunch of psychologists and try to pick the perfect group, you really don't know how far their edges are.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one interesting thing too. And then them talking about like all the science of like the rovers and SpaceX. Like a SpaceX plays a big part in it, and kind of the like going back to the science fiction part of it. It's almost like once you get people down there, how do you begin to like fundraise that campaign and sending people over, the dangers of like accelerating like a process that would normally take 4 years and you want to do it 2 because you need to fundraise all this stuff and getting food down there and power and all that stuff. So it was a cool series.
Yeah. Did you are you all caught up on Raised by Wolves then?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like that's all you've been talking about. The show's so fucking good.
Yeah, it is good.
I know. It's just like you're just waiting for me to watch it so we can actually talk about the details of it. I take it.
No, I'm just I'm kind of bouncing around certain things. There's nothing really catching my eye because I still need to catch up on Perry Mason.
Me too. Yeah, I'm still like lingering on that.
Yeah, I just don't have enough time to watch anything. I just
yeah.
go home and sleep or just play D&D and.
Yeah, I haven't been really watching a lot of new stuff either. Watched Jurassic Park while my mom was in town. For some reason, I don't know, I just thought it was like trying to think. Because my mom is not really like an art house movie person.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a popcorn movie person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to just like, what's a crowd pleaser? What's something that like we can all...
Forrest Gump.
I hate that movie though.
Crash.
Terrible.
The Artist.
Not good.
Shakespeare in Love.
You're just trying to think of all the movies I hate?
No, I'm just thinking of all the Academy Award winners.
Oh. Wow, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Although we did watch, I don't know if it won Academy Award for Best Picture that year, but I know it was nominated for like 11 or 12 Academy Awards, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Which I'm hardly ever in the mood to watch because it's just a long movie.
I watched it once, I know. Well,
Yeah, that was my thinking. Is I watched it once and I remember thinking like it was really good, but for some reason I was thinking like it probably won't hold up. It movie.
okay.
Like, I mean, obviously the CGI looks pretty dated at this point,
Mhm.
but I don't know if it was like a Academy Award nominee.
It probably got like some
performance.
technical award for sure.
No, Brad Pitt was nominated for like Best Support or Best Actor, and Cate Blanchett was nominated, and she was really good in it. But I think a lot of it's just Brad Pitt's just like, oh, he has a funny voice for different ages that he is, and that's okay. I mean, he's good in it. It's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. But yeah, it was Jurassic Park was just like, that's a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves that movie. I don't think I know anybody that's just like...
The CGI holds up.
The whole movie holds
It's just the artistry of what they did with it. Right? The light, they just, it was like the graphics were tailor-made, or, they had the foresight to, with the limitations of the technology, just like tailor make that image in a way where it's kind of like a lot of artistry involved.
Yeah, it's really funny because we were talking about this one day, and I think it was you that brought up, you were like, yeah, because it was like really lauded for like all of its like CGI like at the time, and I was like, I don't remember that because most of the more cool things to me, it's pretty clear that they're animatronics, and that's why they hold up so well. Because animatronics look really good. And on a second and third watch since then, I was like, oh yeah, there's CGI there, and there's CGI there, and there's CGI there, but it's just like
it's the blending too.
Yeah, I remember the animatronic moments the most.
Yeah.
Mostly because the best parts of that movie, which I think is lost in the other movies, is when they have the characters have direct contact with the dinosaurs in some way that isn't like just running away from them.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, when the T-Rex blows Grant's hat off, or the whatchamething sneezes on the girl.
It's a Vegisaurus like you.
It's he like sneezes on her or whatever. Like those are or the eye and the the fucking flashlight like that. Those are the coolest parts. The little claw on the so those are like the best moments of the movie, and all that stuff is pretty much animatronic stuff. And so those are the things that stick out in my brain as like the coolest moments. Newman gets the goop from the Dilophosaurus spat on his face. It's like,
no wonder you guys went extinct.
Yeah, it's and I always, every time I watch it, I forget Sam Jackson's in that movie.
Oh yeah,
every fucking time I forget because it's pre Pulp Fiction.
Was it?
It's 93, 92, 93.
Huh.
So it's before he's Jules, but he's still like he
he is Jules.
Yeah, he's just like, get these motherfucking dinosaurs off my motherfucking island.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was just trying to, what's a crowd pleaser? It's like that came to mind, so we watched that. Still holds up, still a great movie. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything. I haven't really. Keeping Up on the Vow. I think you're behind on that too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of like on the periphery was like, yeah, it could have been like 5 episodes. I don't know why they're stringing it along. There's like a theory like, well, they're still in COVID. We need more content. Just string it along a little bit.
Well, there's still some stuff like, because Diana was talking about this last night, because she watched some kind of guilty pleasure, like, you know, those like, oh my god, like cheesy cult shows that they have that aren't, you know, it's not like a serious documentary, but it's like, you know, little did they know, kind of like, yeah. And then that coupled with the stuff I've never seen anything on Nexium, but I've read stuff, and there's some stuff that they haven't gotten to yet, and I don't know if they're gonna get to it, but I would imagine they would, because it does seem like it's dragging its heels a little bit. I mean, it's fine, but it's probably just like McMillions. I don't know if you ever got through that.
No.
It was fine, but it was like, it could have been like a 3-part thing and not like a 6 or 8-part thing or whatever the fuck it was. So it's probably a similar thing. You don't want to leave any stone unturned, but it doesn't seem like there's a richness of content there, like depth. Just kind of going over some of the same stuff like repeatedly. It's kind of how you ever watch that show, The Men Who Built America?
I've seen parts of it.
I had to stop watching it.
Oh, why?
Because every fucking episode like starts with like an entire recap of like the whole series up to that point. And then every time they come back from a commercial break, they tell you what happened all the way into the episode up to that point. So every episode is like 22, 23 minutes. And I bet you only get about 10 minutes of new stuff every episode. And I'm just not keen on like wading through. Like, I watched 6 or 7 or 8 episodes of it, and it's really only like 3 or 3.5 episodes of content. And I just got tired of it.
It's like a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Yeah, I just got tired of it.
Oh my god, he's powering up. Remember the time he was powering up?
Yeah, and not just the beginning of the episode. I'm serious. Like, I go to a commercial break, and then they come back, and they tell you, like, the previous 10 minutes of stuff that happened quicker. But it's like, Jesus, fuck, dude, I don't need this recap every single time. Like, clearly I'm somebody who's not, like, doesn't need super, like, flashy, like, hot chicks and gunfights and car chases. Like, I'm watching stuff about like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and like, you know, fucking whatever, Vanderbilt and all these guys. So clearly, like, I'm interested in history to some degree and have an attention span. And so you don't need to like act like I'm like just like a knuckle dragging retard and I need to be walked through every single like plot point over like 7 or 8 times before I get it.
Oh, I have a recommendation you would like. This is not my recommendation for later on the podcast, but you should watch for the last, I'd say 3 or 4 months, like every night I'd put on an episode of like Biographics on YouTube.
Biographics?
Yeah, it's just some talking head dude talking about like one important person in history, like from like ancient Greece till present day, or close to present day. So it's pretty good.
Oh,
yeah. I usually forget it because like I'm like about to go to sleep. I'm like, what happened to Cleopatra?
The Cleopatra coming at you.
Racks on racks on racks, stacks on stacks on stacks.
No, it's like it wasn't weird that like, you know, she was just trying to like, you know, he ostracized me because I was trying to fuck with you, baby.
Oh my god, what are you doing with my body?
Just some Egypt shit. That is like I said, I think the part of the reason I like that Drunk History the most is because I actually watched a History Channel special about it, and like it's pretty fucking accurate. Like, I watched a whole hour special, and like that chick encapsulates it pretty well in a fraction of the time and much more humorously. And then Aubrey Plaza's like just kind of like delivery as Cleopatra is like really good. So, yeah, that's funny shit. But no, that's cool. Yeah, Biographics.
Yeah, Biographics.
I started watching.
And they do like mega projects. They talk about like the biggest airplane ever, the biggest jet ever, the biggest whatever, big ass shit.
I need to get back to that Burns documentary on New York.
Oh yeah,
I watched like the first 2 episodes of it, and it was really good. And apparently it's like an 8 or 10 part. They're each like an hour long, and they're very information dense.
I always like Ken Burns documentaries.
It's not Ken Burns. It's his brother.
Oh,
Chris Burns, I think it is.
Whatever. I don't want to see that shit.
Pretty fucking good.
I'll show you, Ken. You fucking asshole.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they're like the Maisel brothers, right? They just make things together. They're both talented.
Yeah.
All right. Jonathan Nolan is talented too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You think Chris like picks on him like, watch your fucking small screen shit, you a pussy. In it.
I thought it was his older brother.
I don't know what.
I thought Jonathan Nolan was the older brother.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Maybe he does pick on it.
No.
Picks on his older brother. Fucking punk.
I made Inception. What did you make?
Yeah.
Westworld? Nah, that's all right. Well, shut up.
It's not that good, really.
Yeah.
So.
No, the last episode wasn't that great. So how about that? You make Memento? I don't think so.
You know what? I was speaking of Christopher Nolan.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I wasn't going to say this, but speaking of Christopher Nolan, I think they were talking about maybe next week, the 14th. I think I told you about this about the pool hall.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that opening up, I think, is movie theaters.
Ah.
And if they do open, we should go see Tenet.
Yeah.
And report back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've gone to see a movie together since we started the podcast. That's how like fucking long it's been since
we saw Knives Out.
Did we?
Yeah. Reported back.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I think it was the last. No, mine was 1917. That's the last movie I saw.
Yeah, the last movie we saw together was Knives Out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see 1917 until I saw it at home.
Mm.
Which probably was not the way to watch it, but...
Yeah, it's pretty good watching in the theater.
Yeah, it looks good. It's Sam Mendes. He's good at pretty much everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
And it's Roger Deakins is the DP on that movie.
Mm.
Back to back.
Back
To back. Best cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
Back to back years.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and like they're like just seeing the trailer and just like I don't know who's the DP on that movie, but I'm just gonna assume it's Roger Deakins for the new Dune. Like he's gonna get it again. There's no way he can't with like a movie that fucking epic in scope.
Yeah. It's a beautiful looking movie. And that thing got pushed back till next year too.
Yeah.
They want to lose their ass on theaters.
Yeah, that's probably wise, but you know, whatever. But fuck, what was I saying about Christopher Nolan? Oh, I was going through fucking Christopher Nolan's movies because we were talking about. Diana asked me like I was talking about some movie that he did. Maybe I was talking about seeing Tenet, and she was like, "Oh, it's a new Christopher Nolan movie."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "What did he do again?" And I'm like, rattling off all his movies. She's like, "Oh, those are all good movies." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't see this." And I was like, "I feel like I'm forgetting something."
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't remember. I was like, I'm forgetting a movie. And I was forgetting The Prestige, which is dumb because it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
But then while I was looking it up, he directed that movie Insomnia. Did you ever see that?
I've seen the poster for it, but I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, it's got Robin Williams and Al Pacino in it.
Oh, did it? Okay, I must have thinking of something else.
Yeah, it's got Mara Tierney. I think maybe even Hilary Swank is in it. And it's got Al Pacino and Robin Williams. And I saw it in the theater before I even knew who Christopher Nolan was, because I think it was like maybe after he did Memento.
Okay.
I think it was after he did Memento, but before he did whatever came
the Batman
movies. And so I saw it, and I fucking hated it.
Oh yeah.
I hated it. I was like, I remember making everyone was like, "Oh, how was it?" And I was like,
I'm never watching any of the movies this fucker makes.
I didn't know who made it.
Yeah.
At the time, because I just like didn't register to me because he wasn't like a director that was really all that well known yet. Like he had done Memento, but I don't even know that I had seen Memento yet. And I just remember making a bunch of jokes. That I was like, "They should call it The Cure for Insomnia." It's the most boring fucking movie I had ever seen. And now it's like, man, I wonder if I watched it now, if I'd still have the same opinion of it. Because, you know, my sensibilities about movies have changed a lot. I used to think Fight Club was like one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty good. But even my mom was like, yeah, it's one of those movies that like the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, it's really good. And then she's like, and the second time you're like, that's pretty good. And then after the third and fourth time, you're like, okay, it's decent. But I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was like, I saw it on Prime, and I was like, maybe I should go back and watch this, but it was just so unpleasant. Like it stayed with me all these years that I hated that movie, and I never knew it was Christopher Nolan until now.
It's like that first like alcoholic drink you throw up on. You're like, I'm never having that.
It was really. I just remember I saw it with my uncle. We went to see it, and it was like, we thought it sounded good, and then it was just incredibly boring. It was like because I remember another Robin Williams movie came out right around the same time called 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it had like a cool premise too. Robin Williams is like a kind of a psycho, you know, and you were like, oh, maybe this will be good, right? It's like playing against type and this, that, and the other, and it looked all somber, and it was terrible too.
Oh, was it?
It was terrible. Yeah, it was really, really terrible and really boring. And so I was just like lump them together. I'm like, terrible Robin Williams movies that came out like while he was trying to be.
He's not that good.
He's trying to be a serious actor.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean I still really like Robin Williams, but just those movies in particular were just not good at all. Like, but maybe I'd feel differently now that I'm a little older and have different sensibilities about movies.
Yeah, it's worth taking a look at again.
Yeah, but it's an endeavor. To me, it's like my brain feels about it the same way I feel about at the prospect of watching There Will Be Blood again.
Oh, okay.
It's like are you fucking kidding me? Really? I gotta watch this again?
Uh-huh.
Like you couldn't pay me enough money to watch that movie again. It's so fucking boring.
Trying to think of another movie. The Star Trek the Motion Picture.
That's pretty tedious too.
Oh god damn! I was a little kid and I was like, I want to watch that, and like, not my aunt, but like some older lady that's like a family friend who's like, you should watch Blade Runner. I think you would enjoy that. Nah, I'm gonna watch Star Trek. And
Fast forward 20 years later, you're like, I should have watched Blade Runner.
yeah, it took me like another 20 years before I even watched Blade Runner. Remember I had to borrow a copy from you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen
it. I know,
all the
it was
way through.
weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird because I remember liking that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like kind of watching it now, I'm like, why did I really like this as a kid? I can't really put my finger on it. It doesn't really seem like a movie kids would like. It's not chocked full of action or anything.
No.
But I think it was mostly the
because like it's a mood setter until like if you like noir, it's like
I think it's the mood.
Yeah.
I think it's what it was.
Yeah.
That was like cool with like the trench coats and the rain and like and Rutger Hauer's all brooding and it's like
cyberpunk, all that shit.
Yeah, I just kind of I think I just liked that even though it wasn't terribly action packed. I was into it. And
it's like thinking back of like why did your parents even let you watch RoboCop as a kid? And they made toys and all that shit. Like why did they do this?
Yeah, my mom probably wouldn't like to hear this, but like I know she's fully aware. My dad would let me watch very inappropriate movies that are very young. I remember watching like all the Friday the 13th movies when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah. I was the same way, but for some reason they let me watch any kind of movie, but when Pulp Fiction came out on Blockbuster, they told me not to watch it. I'm like, watching like everything else? What's with this? It took me like another 10 years before I watched Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, what was that? I think I saw it the year it came out. We were, what, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing it when it first came out. And
it's not even that crazy. Like, if you watch, like, RoboCop versus Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. It's way grittier.
Yeah.
RoboCop is way grittier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember watching... I was a big fan of the Friday the 13th movies, and those have, like, graphic violence and nudity in them.
Yeah.
And yeah, for some reason, I remember my dad, when it came to movies, he was more sensitive to things that had graphic nudity in them than graphic violence for whatever reason.
That seems like a typical American thing, right?
Yeah, it's really weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't get that at all.
I don't understand that either. It doesn't make any sense.
Especially because, like, even the most sultry of movies, like, I'm trying to think of a movie that would be like Last Tango in Paris or like maybe Unfaithful or like some of the movies that are like steamier, like even for rated R movies, they're really not that graphic sexually. It's not like hardcore porn graphic.
Well, softcore porn, like a step down from that.
Some of it, yeah, but it's not like there's any like...
Well, stuff from the 80s is like, okay, this is weird. Like some of the Highlander movies. A softcore porn movie.
Sure, but it's just nudity.
Yeah.
It's not like people are like getting thrown up against the wall and railed.
Yeah.
Right? Like even if you can't see it, like that's a different dynamic than seeing
a guy getting his head blown off, or a guy's like melting in acid and like truck hits him.
Exactly.
Or a guy getting his limbs blown off in a shootout.
Exactly. Like that stuff's all pretty fucking gruesome.
Seeing a T-Rex eat a manhole.
It's just like yeah. I'm trying to think of like any movie that has like, I mean, there's some movies that have some graphic sexuality in them, but they're usually rated like not rated or NC-17. Like what's that one movie? Irreversible. Kind of was playing on the whole Memento thing, and it's a movie that's played backward forward, and it has this. It's got a rape scene in it, and it's just brutally graphic. It looks like you're just watching CCTV footage of someone getting raped.
Whoa.
Like it's bad.
Like,
and I didn't know that was the movie was about, and I was like, okay, it sounds like an interesting concept. It's kind of an art house movie, and it was just gruesome. And it's the chick from The Matrix, that Monica Bellucci chick.
Ah, okay.
The one in the second Matrix, the hot one that wants to kiss Neo. she has like some information, and they're in this nightclub, and she wants to kiss Neo as payment for the thing, and Trinity's all heard about it. Yeah, it's that chick.
Okay.
She just gets like just brutally raped, and she's pregnant at the time, or at least she thinks she's pregnant or something. I don't remember, but it's pretty bad. But like, it's never like that. It's just like, you know, like rolling around in the sheets, and maybe you see some boobs. I'm like, okay, boobs, I get it.
Sad boobs.
Right? Yeah, it's boobs, but it's not like graphic sexuality.
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't get it, but yeah, I don't like. So yeah, I watched a bunch of just very inappropriate age inappropriate shit when I was a kid.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like the TV babysitter. Shut up and watch this.
No, we would go rent movies.
No, same here.
I'm like, I want to get this one. It's like
okay.
rated R. This guy getting like a machete stabbed through his head, and my dad was like, "Fine, take it up the front."
Yeah, leave me alone. I actually went to Target and I saw this. It looks cool. The packaging's really badass. It's like Blockbuster the game, but it looks like a oversized like Blockbuster cassette holder. Has like the clear plastic.
It's like a board game.
It looks like a board. It's like looks like one of those like TV board game things.
Oh, like an interactive?
Yeah, it might be. I just took a look at it. I was like, oh, it's pretty crazy.
Huh.
But yeah, I'll take a look again when I get stop by it.
If it's like movie trivia or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
Crush that shit.
Pretty
good at movie trivia. Of course, it'll be a bunch of movies that I haven't seen. It won't be like cinephile movies. It'll be like fucking popcorn movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not that good at that.
I had a buddy John. He like towards the beginning of Netflix, they had that whole thing. You pay a monthly fee and you can go to Blockbuster and just pick up a whole bunch of movies. Like you have an allotment of 3.
Blockbuster had that.
Yeah, Blockbuster had that.
Because Netflix was starting to do the mail-in stuff. Yeah.
And he didn't have cable, and he would just rent the worst fucking movies ever. Sniper 1, Sniper 2, Sniper 3, Sniper 4.
Is this the John that works at Netflix now?
No.
His name is John, right?
Yeah, his name's John.
It's a different John.
Yeah, different John.
That would be funny if it was the guy that actually works at Netflix now.
Yeah. But yeah, he just rent the worst fucking movies. But there were some good points. Like that's how I got into like Beto when I was kind of like couch surfing at his place. He would rent. We really got into watching 24.
Yeah.
And we just run through that fucking series. Like the first like it probably took us like 2 or 3 days to go through the whole 24, the first season of 24.
I think that there should have just been one season of 24. I think it would have held up.
Oh yeah.
Like
Definitely.
just one season.
Yeah,
if it was like a one-off, like a limited series or whatever it would have been. It's the same thing. Like they tried to do multiple seasons of that show, Prison Break.
Yeah, like
he's out, dude. Like how are you gonna fucking? Like...
Nah, but he has to go back in to save his friend.
Go back in. Was that the premise?
I think that's what one of the premises were.
That's so fucking stupid. Anyway, yeah.
Like Keith Sutherland's like always stuck in these like weird series, like the Designated Survivor. You know that show where like they had the State of the Union. He's like secretary of something. I don't know. He's in the cabinet, and the fucking Capitol building blows up. Everyone's dead. He's the last one in succession.
Oh wow. It's kind of the premise, and
it's like, how far do you go with that series? Like, okay, we rebuilt the government. End of story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. My old lady watched Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
For the first time, yeah, because she was like, I just want something that's kind of funny.
Oh look, Santa Cruz.
And I was like, I'm gonna watch this Lost Boys. It's a cult movie, you know.
Oh, then she has like the same kind of feelings for going to Santa Cruz and people freaking the fuck out. I'm like, oh, what's the big deal? This is Lost Boys. Like, is that a movie? Oh, okay.
Well, you gotta understand too. I didn't grow up here.
Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with Santa Cruz. Like it was
even people that live here, they watch Lost Boys. Like, oh yeah, this is part of Lost Boys. See the Ferris wheel, the fucking beach boardwalk, and all that shit.
Right,
like,
but you gotta understand.
Just lost on me.
But you're a Lost Boy. But like, at least when you grow up in California and you watch the movie, you're aware, like, hey, that's Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Right, and then you go to Santa Cruz and you're like, oh, it's cool. This is where they filmed Lost Boys.
Well, I never saw that. I was 30 when I watched Lost Boys.
Right, but I didn't like. I never thought about like where they filmed it as a kid because I never think about that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And it was just like I just found myself in the midst of like the Santa Cruz fucking boardwalk, And I'm just like looking around, and I'm like, this all feels very familiar and weird to me.
Did you ride the sky thing? You're like, what the fuck?
I'm like,
something's going on in this place.
I was like, oh, this is where they film Lost Boys. Like,
There's a guy playing like a saxophone on the beach.
That is my favorite part of that movie.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Don't I still believe? He's like shirtless and sweaty with like a collar, slick back hair, leather pants, and a fucking saxophone. Like that guy is a badass. They should bring him back next summer. Bring him back.
Apparently, they did an interview with him, and that's the only he's done like a ton of fucking records, and people just know him from that role. He's like an accomplished musician with like a discography that it's pretty long. And like, yeah, you're the dude from the Lost Boys. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah.
Come on, man. You know what you were wearing when you did that shit. It was gonna stick in people's brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know. Like I see him. I'm like, man, that guy he just rocks it. He just rocks being that way. He's just like that. He's a human.
Yeah.
And he just kind of he had like one of two ways to go with that look, and he chose to just lean into the more ridiculous side of it. And like all right, kudos to you, guy with saxophone and sweatiness.
Yeah, as a kid too, watching like movies that are based in San Francisco, like they showed the Golden Gate. It was like, you're on the wrong side of the bridge. What the? And you say you live in San Francisco? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that is weird. Well, because you can't. Well, now in recent years, it's always been that the Golden Gate Bridge is in some sort of peril in every fucking disaster movie,
that's right, yeah.
Godzilla movie, X-Men movie, whatever it is. There's always like the Golden Gate Bridge is in some sort of peril because apparently it's the most.
The bridge is the bridge.
It's like the precious thing that we have in the country, and because there was a big slew where they tried to.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's always like you can't have something in San Francisco and not show the Golden Gate Bridge.
Or if you're going to go to New York, Statue of Liberty.
See, but the thing is when you watch movies in New York, they don't always show the Statue of Liberty. Not always. It's frequent. If it's a big scale movie, like a disaster movie or something, they probably do.
Yeah.
But like, it's not always. I mean, look at like every single Woody Allen movie is set pretty much in New York, and they never show the Statue of Liberty.
The city's like a character on itself.
Yeah,
fuck off.
And all kinds of directors really love New York.
Yeah.
And set movies there all the time. Mm-hmm. But it is like, I don't ever remember seeing a movie that's based in San Francisco that does not show the Golden Gate Bridge ever. Like, not one. And there are a lot of movies set in San Francisco.
Yeah, because there's only like two major, three. Golden Gate Bridge for sure. The Trans-American I don't know what they call it now. The pyramid building.
Transgender building now, I'm sure.
And the Crooked Street. I forgot the name of it.
Oh,
the windy road.
Not Duval. Duval Street's in the Keys, I think. Maybe it is Duval Street.
No, it's not.
It's not. You're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The super windy street.
Yeah.
It's like the windiest street ever. Like, I don't know how you gauge that, but okay.
Oh.
But it would be like if every time there's something we're in Chicago, they don't show the Sears Tower, the big beam thing, like every single fucking time.
I guess. I don't know.
They don't. It's just like, I don't know, something about the Golden Gate Bridge. They just have some sort of soft spot for it.
It's all big and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, you can see it like almost everywhere. Not almost everywhere, but it's the one thing to see. It's a modern marvel.
It's a big red bridge, dude. It's cool, I guess.
It's golden. I don't know.
Yeah, why do they call it the Golden Gate Bridge?
Golden State.
Or in St. Louis, there's the arch. They don't show that in every movie in St. Louis. Of course, not a lot of movies are set in St. Louis, but I don't know.
No.
That's probably just as big of a landmark. Statue of Liberty.
Well, it's a functioning piece of like the city, the bridge, because the arch really doesn't do anything other than it's an attraction.
Sure. But I mean, like, what's the obsession with the Golden Gate Bridge versus like the Manhattan Bridge?
Yeah, like the Brooklyn Bridge. No, actually, that's not a good equivalent because I think they show that more than anything else in the movies, like Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge.
Not as a
not a thing in peril. But they do show it in most movies.
They show it they show it in more movies because more movies are set in New York than San Francisco. But as a percent of the times, no way, man. I'm saying it's 100% of the time movies set in San Francisco. 100%. I challenge anybody to find a single movie that's set in San Francisco where they do not show the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, because San Francisco's distinct enough where it's like it has big ass hills. That's San Francisco.
Yeah, you would know it. You don't need to be shown the Golden Gate Bridge. Actually, now that I think on CinemaSins, and he's always teasing the fact that they always show the Golden Gate Bridge, and then there was some movie where he's like.
Show it.
No, they show the Bay Bridge, and he's like, I know you want me to think that that's the Golden Gate Bridge, but it is not. That is the Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't shell out the extra money to shoot the Golden Gate. Everybody else does.
I had cousins come over from the Philippines, like, oh my god, this is the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like, no, it's not the Golden Gate Bridge.
It's blue.
Yeah. Well, there's different parts of it too.
Different parts
like
of what?
The double decker, and they have the ones with the actual arches or towers.
Yeah, but the Bay Bridge is all blue, isn't it?
No, some of it is gray.
Yeah, but none of it's red.
Yeah.
So,
but they just see the two like towers. I was like, well, there's more than two, so it doesn't count as the Golden Gate.
Yeah. Then it's not red.
Yeah.
But I forgot how we got on that tangent about that. What were we talking about originally?
I don't know.
Movies and stuff.
Oh, Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Yeah. Yeah. So we watched that.
You see the Ferris wheel, and you see like the roller coaster, the Big Dipper, and the carousel. That's a big thing. Yeah.
All of it, it's just, I don't know. It was like a movie. I've seen Lost Boys probably more than any movie.
Yeah, you're telling me that.
Just because we watched it so much.
So when you realize where you were, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is there, and this is there, and this is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started like singing that song. And I was looking at me like I'm crazy because I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. It was like I'm sure she wasn't like all. She's like, that was a fine movie. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a family movie or whatever, so that's cool. I also never realized that it's Santa Carla, which is kind of a play on Santa Clara, which is not near Santa Cruz, but they obviously just kind of took the name.
Yeah.
Santa Carla or whatever. So that's cool. I remember I wrote an essay about drawing parallels between Bram Stoker's Dracula and the book and Lost Boys, and how all of the archetypes. Lost Boys is so successful as like a modern retelling of that because of it hits all the archetypes and all the same plot points that Bram Stoker's classic Dracula novel does. I got an A+ on that essay. It was the first essay I ever got an A+ on.
I think I might be doing this more often.
I'll write some essays and rant about movies. But yeah.
So, you got anything else for what you've been doing?
Not really. It was just the momming, board gaming, keeping it real.
Like, I'll see you in 10 more years, Ma.
Yeah, I guess she got all melancholic at Diana. She got a couple drinks. She's like, this is probably the last time I'm going to see David. And I'm like, no, Mom, probably not. But I'm just getting old. Of course, Diana don't know how to deal with that. She's like, oh
no. Yeah.
She doesn't know how to deal with drunk people at all. It's so
emotions.
Adorable. Yeah, she's just
drunk emotions. No.
She just doesn't know how to deal with drunk people.
There.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Yay.
No, I'm pretty sure you'll see him when you're dying.
When you're dying.
He'll be there.
He'll be there.
He won't be at your funeral, but at least you know he's going to be there when you're dead.
When you're dead. Well, to be fair, if you could choose one, at the funeral or there when someone's dying, isn't there when they're dying better?
Of course.
Of course, right. So, and I do have to choose one. So, can't have both.
All right, let's jump into our next section.
John C.
This week in WWE, did you watch that match with? No, I was kidding.
I did not.
Okay. Did you see Monday Night Raw when the dude told him you're full of bullcrap, and he was like no, and he hit him with a chair.
Yeah, that was Gold Dust. He hit Gold Dust.
Turned him gay.
Yay, Gold Dust. Dusty Rhodes' nephew or whatever.
All right, this section of the podcast will be reviewing. We both had this cigar. We're both reviewing it, and this week's selection is the Illusione Cigar Privé.
Yeah, the LE that came out this year. So Vitola's a 56 by 5.5, and it is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper with Yalapa Nicaraguan filler and Criollo 98 filler, and the binder is...
Ooh, it must be really old.
Yeah, and then the binder is just, I think it's just straight Nicaraguan. I would suspect it's probably from Yalapa Valley too. So you smoked it last night. I smoked it a few nights ago. Actually, I smoked 2 of them. So fairly. Impressions?
It's a pretty solid cigar. Something typically I don't like. Some of the brighter cigars, I do enjoy them, but they're kind of like not in my rotation. Usually kind of like heavier finishes, darker cigars. I kind of tend towards. But it was a nice change up. That thing was like a twang machine, like all the way through.
That's why I thought you would like it.
Yeah.
It seemed more like your jam than my jam. Like, I liked it. It was all right, but I didn't think it was a terribly strong showing from Illusione, especially for an LE. They just got him in at Aloni.
I'm surprised that it wasn't even an LE. I was like, it's fine.
It's kind of weird, yeah. But yeah, they got him in at Aloni, and I picked him up there. It's like, it might be the only place you can really find them right now, because they're not terribly easy to get. But it's a box press too, so it's a bigger cigar than I typically like to smoke. But like, I smoked it, and it definitely has shades of the at least natural cigar pre-base. Like, it's definitely got that as a base, and you can tell that Criollo filler is in there and that Yalapa Valley flavor is in there. But I think the original pre-base is a Corojo as opposed to an Ecuadorian Habano, so that's probably where that like twanginess comes from. But like, I thought it was all right, but it just seemed like something outside your typical flavor profile that I thought that you would probably like think was pretty decent.
Yeah, there's not too many cigars in Illusione's lineup I don't like too much. Like, I think their Maduros from the original series aren't that great. It's not even. I don't think it was even worth him doing it. I think it was like pressure from the market to make something like that.
Probably.
And
I think the MJ12 Maduro it tastes like it should be a Maduro. But it's not as good as the MJ12. But the best Maduro they make is just the Rothschild.
Yeah.
It's just a little fucking like $8 San Andreas Nicaraguan.
I was like, I gotta make a cigar? Shit, just put the shit together.
I didn't know they made a Connecticut in that for the longest time. Apparently they do. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, I think I had it once.
Because they don't have any other Connecticut's in their line, do they? And that might be the only Connecticut they even make.
Yeah, he's probably not a fan of Connecticut's.
Maybe. Well, that one's good.
Yeah. So I've been enjoying that one's good. You know, as typical for like that brand, Constructions was great. The only criticism, no, it's not really a criticism, but just like a tasting note, is that really what you get from toasting the foot, that's pretty much what you're going to get. You're just getting trade-offs in flavor.
In ratio.
Yeah, in ratio. Because like that oakiness really comes out towards the later half of the cigar. And then we were having the McAllen 12 year. And that one paired very well. Usually I really don't care for pairings. Yeah. But that just was pretty spot on.
Yeah, it's definitely got, especially for a Habano with a Criollo in it, like it does have a little bit of spice to it. I was kind of surprised. And I think that part of what made it a little more nuanced than the regular pre-base is that it just like it feels like it's gonna verge on like getting to a certain like threshold of power, and then I think it's probably like that Criollo, like I love Criollo tobacco. It's really good. It just kind of like cuts through like a little bit of like mellowness. And so that twang ratio kind of stays there, and it just kind of buoys, like right here. Like you keep thinking, and the ratios change a little bit, but it just kind of buoys in like this certain area, and just kind of floats there. And I think that's part of the reason for an LE, I didn't think it was. Yeah, I mean, I like almost everything from Illusione, but like it's not like when the Fum de Mor came out. And I was like, this is in my fucking rotation now. Like this cigar is dynamite.
Yeah.
And but generally speaking, I'm not like a huge Cigar Privé fan. Like it's probably for me somewhere in the middle of their line, or maybe even toward the end, bottom of their line.
So what do you think is like for me the worst ones are like the Maduros?
Yeah,
so,
the CG4 Maduro, the 88 Maduro. Those ones are.
I was like hyped when I saw like, oh shit, Maduro. Let's try that. I was like, eh.
Yeah, those, and then what's the other original Documents Maduro? CG. They don't make a 2 Maduro, but they make a CG4.
Did they make a Holy Lance?
A Holy Lance Maduro, they might. Yeah. But yeah, so for me, those are at the bottom, and then the top echelon, Singulare 2014, Fum de Mor, 10. Those are on the top, and then the tier down from that is probably just like the Epernets and the ECCJ and the other Singulares. Those are pretty good. And then I would put like the 88 and the 888 in that second tier. And then down from there it's like the Rothschild and then the MJ12 and the CG4 and the 2 are all solid. Yeah. And then he
has a really good lineup.
I don't care for Candelas, but I think that the 88 Candela is probably the best one I've ever smoked.
Yeah, it's probably the best Candela I've had.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Because that filler doesn't drown out that Candela flavor, but it doesn't. It also does. Yeah, it doesn't allow that. Because for me, Candelas always they come too hard over the top with that grassiness, and it feels like I was out mowing the lawn or something. I just breathed it in, but it doesn't. That aromatic quality that the filler tobacco has kind of cuts some of the astringency of that grassiness and makes it just kind of like mellow and nice. I don't smoke it that often, but like if I had a choice between like any given Candela, it would be that one probably.
Overall, like for a rating, would you tell the listeners like, is it worth buying it, getting the $5, buying a whole box of them?
I say it's worth trying. I give it a
single buy.
If we're doing on a scale to 10 with maybe decimal points or a scale to 100 or whatever, I give it like a 8.2, 82 out of 100. Yeah, which is better than the bulk of the market. I think but it's
not going to be on my rotation though.
That said, I think most everything else in Illusions, the Cigar Privés, the Maduros that I mentioned notwithstanding, everything else in their lineup is probably an 87 or better, 87 to 95, right? Like that's a pretty tight lineup when the worst cigars in your line are like, an 80, 84, 85. And I'm not somebody who believes in not using the whole scale because some cigars like
looking at you, cigar aficionado.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Hoya Black from Drew Estate. That cigar is a 36 out of 100.
Hoya Black.
Huh. And the thing is just Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler.
How could you fuck that up?
It's garbage.
They just get like shag stuff from the bottom of the factories, or
garbage. It's garbage. Like Rocky Patel's stuff hardly even cracks like 45. Their best cigars are like maybe a 50.
Yeah, their best one they ever made, for my opinion, is probably like the Winter Blend when that came out, when they were doing like the seasonal blends for that 1 year. And I forgot what it turned. I think it turned into Decade or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
But that first year of the was an awesome cigar.
I want to get some more of those Winter Blend Regises. Those were fucking good.
Oh yeah, those are good.
And I think what I really like about them is that they do taste like winter. It's kind of like almost like a mint and like juniper flavor. And it's like it does taste like wintry. It has like some like almost holiday quality to it, like on top of that normal Regis, and it just gives it this depth. That's really good.
I wish I knew more information about Regis, because it's just like they just make stuff, but I don't hear anything about the blenders or the history of it. It's like, yeah, we're from England. That's about it.
Talk to the guy. It's the rep. He's very into himself.
The Indian dude.
Oh, he's actually the blender. I think he's not.
Is he the blender? I don't know if he owns the company. I don't know what he is.
He's the owner of the company.
Okay, yeah, he is kind of full of himself.
He's really full of himself.
I'm interacting with him for like about 20 minutes. He's like, yeah, he's full of himself, but he's not a dick.
No, he's not a dick.
Yeah.
But I will say that I met him the first time, and I kind of thought that, and then after meeting him again, well, he is a little bit of a dick.
Oh, okay.
Like the first time I met him, I was like, yeah, he's all right.
Uh-huh.
He's a decent dude.
Uh-huh.
Like, and then like the second time, I was like, he's a little bit of a dick. I don't know.
Well,
if
he's
it
in
was-
for a goof because when we were at the show at 2019, we were sitting with that guy, and he was about to talk to Bill about the terms for the cigars, and Tim Wong called. It's like, oh wow, Tim Wong. He's about to pick up the phone, and Bill was like, tell him to go suck my dick. And then he's like, hey Tim, how about you suck my dick? I'm here with Bill Davis. So he's there for a goof. So I was like, okay, this guy's kind of likable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not a bad dude. But he definitely knows how good his cigars are.
Oh yeah.
And that's like
It's like talking to Michael Jordan's like, you play some basketball? Yeah, I can play some
play a
basketball.
little bit of basketball, play a little bit of my day,
Uh-huh.
show you a crossover drill.
Yeah. I'm so humble, man. I'm like the humblest dude you ever met. I'm the humblest.
I'm the humblest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like it's like I always like it when you like you get this a lot with Gretzky. Like Gretzky is notoriously a pretty humble guy,
Uh-huh.
but it's like sometimes it just like comes up against it where it's just like he can't really keep that facade up for that much longer. You know, you're just like, dude, like you're the man, right? Everybody knows you're the man.
They say that.
yeah.
They keep on calling it, but I don't really believe it.
Yeah, it was in that documentary I saw where they're asking him like, I think I told you this, but they're asking him like, you know, about all his records and like what records he thinks will never be broken, and I was interested in that answer because I always thought it would be 200 points in a season
Mhm.
or points in a career,
Mhm.
but apparently he thinks 50 and 39 is the one that will stand the test of time.
Mhm.
50 goals in 39 games, and that's impressive that he thinks that, but. And even framed it by saying, I think someday somebody come along and get 200 points in a season. They won't. I think somebody come along and get 3,000 points in a career. They won't. Like that'll never happen.
Uh-huh.
But 50 and 39, like that's there to stay.
Mhm.
But they were asking him like if you had to guess like what goalie you scored the most goals on.
Mhm.
And he knew. He was like, oh, probably Vancouver's goalie, whoever goalie they had in the first. Like he didn't know his
He
name.
didn't even know his
He
name.
was
Have some
like-
respect. How
He was
dare
just like
you?
whoever Vancouver's goalie was, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Yeah, you're right. He scored a lot of goals on that." He's like, "Yeah, I scored a lot of goals on that guy." It's like, dude,
Made a lot of money on that dude.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to throw his footballs over the mountains.
It's like, yeah, cheese.
But
That's so disrespectful. I don't even know the dude's name, but that dude.
well, I mean, if he was a really good goalie, he'd know his name, right?
I just like whispering. He's like, "Got your fucking number."
It's like, yeah, probably scored a lot on that guy. Yep, yeah, scored a lot on that guy.
Going back to cigar talk. Got any tips? Cigar tips.
My buddy Matt reminded me of one that has always irked me, and I know you say it's a carryover, like just old school, timey fucking guys that smoke cigars. People that like lick their cigars, that like put both ends of their cigars in their mouth, like,
Yeah.
before they cut and light it. Like, folks, that
This is
doesn't
violating that
it just-
cigar.
that doesn't do anything. It does nothing, right? Like you said, I think it's a carryover before like cigars were predominantly humidified,
Yeah.
and so people would like try to add a little bit of moisture to the cigar.
Mhm.
But even then, it's like that moisture shouldn't permeate the wrapper unless it's like a super toothy, spongy wrapper.
Mhm.
But if you have like a wrapper with a nice sheen on it or whatever, like it's not gonna permeate into the filler tobacco to moisturize it,
I don't know what.
and it doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess maybe it moistens it a little bit so it doesn't crack when
yeah,
you cut it.
that's the only thing I can think of.
But like some people put like the whole thing front and back in their mouth, like it's just like, dude,
just like Sasha Grey.
yeah, there's Sasha Grey in it. So yeah, just quit that.
Uh-huh.
Just stop it. And not only is it like not do anything, but it's just poor form.
Yeah.
Like if people you're smoking around with,
And they use like the house cutter.
yeah,
And it's like, good dude, what? It's even like pre-COVID. It's like, what are you doing?
just get your AIDS all over it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, nope, I'm just gonna go ahead and
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
yeah, it's like I don't get. And it always seems to be like crusty old white guys that do it.
Uh huh.
For some reason, like paunchy, crusty old white guys. That
Yeah.
are like, I've been smoking cigars since the 40s or whatever. It's like, okay, cool, buddy. Nice, good job. It's just like, to me, it's like just like putting your whole mouth over the neck of a bottle of whiskey before you pour it.
Yeah, it's pretty. Or like licking the glass before you.
I gotta make sure it's nice and moist.
Yeah.
It's like fucking.
It's pre-moistened for the liqueur.
It's just like, yeah. So he reminded me of that, and I agree wholeheartedly. If I can get one person to stop doing that,
That's pretty fucking gross, dude.
It's very fucking nasty.
Yeah, no one wants to see that shit.
And it doesn't do anything. That's moreover, it just doesn't help anything. It's like you think it'll make it stick. It's like, no, because the second the heat hits it, it's just gonna dry it out.
Yeah.
And it's just if it's gonna crack, it's gonna crack. If it's gonna come unraveled, it's gonna come unraveled. You get a bad roll every now and again. But more often than not, it's probably because you're an animal and you're handling your cigars like they're made of Teflon or something, and they're not. They're fragile products that need to be handled accordingly. Don't bang them around or chew on them or fucking like squeeze them like you're jerking it off or something. Like it's not made to be handled like that.
Yeah.
It's not made to be beat up. You know, it's not a movie from the 80s or you're chomping and chewing on it like it's like a thing. Yeah. So just cut it out, people. Stop it, all of you. All of you. What about you?
Nothing too much. I'm just surprised a lot of people just don't bleed their lighters. It's like, it's not fucking working. No gas. There's no gas coming in there. It's like, did you bleed it? What?
Explain what you mean by bleed it.
Bleeding is by getting like you get like a mini screwdriver at the end of where you fill the business end, not the other business end.
Not the business end.
Not the business end, but a business end of it.
Right. The back door.
Yeah. To receive.
The fun spot.
Yeah, the fun spot. There you go. What I usually do is that you want to kind of create a vacuum within the tank.
Yep.
And by doing that, you need to get a small screwdriver and just bleed a little bit out. It's like, pss, pss, pss. You don't have to bleed the whole thing out, but it's good practice.
It helps if you do.
It helps if you do,
and
but
you
it's not
usually bleed this way, right?
Yes.
Like with the nozzle down, and then you fill.
If you go the other way, it's not as effective, I guess. Yeah. And a small little trick too. If you want to get every last bit of the tank in there, I just give it like a little like shimmy and a squirt. Yeah. Because like the very last bits out.
Actually, if you really want to like fill it all the way up, usually what I'll do is I'll bleed it. I'm fastidious about bleeding. I was like, these are in here, and that's why I hate the really big lighters, because the really big lighters will just keep pissing out air for like ever.
Yeah.
But bleed it out, and then you fill it, and then that little last bubble like won't go, and then you bleed a little more, and then it fill all the way to the top.
Yeah. Oh, also too, I don't know if you can catch this on camera. Probably not, but there's that blue tip of the flame
where they all converge.
Yes. You don't want to put your cigar in there. It's not the hottest spot to put in there. Plus, it clogs up your cigar or your lighter.
Yeah, because you're gonna get some flake off ash.
Yeah, flake of ash, and then there's a tendency of like when you let go of the trigger that it sucks in air.
Yeah.
So it's gonna suck up smoke and clog up your jets. And usually, what you want to do, the best practice, is when you light it, maybe an inch from the top of not the peak, but of the blue flame.
Yeah.
And you get more coverage from the flame because all that thing.
And a good indicator too, if you don't know, like you toast it, and if you're not sure if you're hitting it, like just puff on it.
Yeah. Works perfectly fine.
Yep. And usually it didn't do it on mine because my lighter's almost out of juice.
Yeah.
But when you puff on it, it'll even flip up flame a little bit, and you're not even touching the flame. Like it just needs to lick the end of it.
Yeah.
Or it'll do what's called ballooning, and it'll come over the top of the foot of your cigar and like eat up that first like 2 inches of your wrapper. And so it's like if you're smoking a Toro, like you're smoking a Robusto now, and it's like you're wasting like 2.5 inches, which is like 10 or 15 minutes of smoke time. It's just gonna taste like charred asshole.
Yeah. And also too,
what really grinds my gears?
When you get those people that they're not conscientious of like how to light a cigar, they just shove the fucking thing in there, and then you give it to somebody, and they just fuck up your lighter. Like, what the fuck did you just do?
Yeah.
It's like pristine. Now you just ruined it. Yeah. Now I have to do work to fix it.
Yeah, I'm always leery about letting people use my lighter because can I use your lighter, man? Like,
also, if you're the person that uses up the last bit of gas, go fill it up.
Yeah, it's a courteous.
Yeah,
thing to fill
I
up
fucking hate that. It's out of gas. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Fucking dicks. That's like very bad cigar etiquette to do that.
Because they'll light like half of their cigar and it like won't be as lit as they want it to be, but they'll be like, it'll be lit enough, and they'll be like, oh, it's out,
Yeah.
and just walk off. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, fucking fill it up,
Yeah.
man. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like just.
So those are your cigar tips of the day.
Those are your cigar tips of the day, guys.
So,
I like turtles.
questions for this week? Music, videos, anything, books.
I'm reading The Buried Giant, and it's really good. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like,
It's very good.
it's very good. Super, super good.
Uh-huh.
It's Kazuo Ishiguro. He wrote Never Let Me Go and Remains of the Day.
Ah.
Both books I really like.
Mhm.
And I'm really liking this, and I don't know why I haven't made more time to read. I'm only a few chapters in, but so far it's really good. I think I can see where it's going, and it's really cool too because it's a fantasy novel.
Okay.
He's not a fantasy writer,
Oh,
so it's just like a guy that doesn't do fantasy writing, like doing.
And also, you're not a big, like, fiction reader.
I used to exclusively read fiction
Okay.
before I went to college,
Okay.
and I've been trying to get back into reading fiction, kind of mixing it up. Every other book I'll read fiction, nonfiction, fiction, nonfiction. So I read, what was I reading before the trial? Henry Kissinger. I was reading, Down and Out in Paris and London,
Mhm.
and so. But like, yeah, I wanted to. This guy's like the two novels that I've read by him are both really good, and this one has potential to be just as good, if not better. But it's like kind of post-Arthurian England, and so it kind of takes place in this like weird period of history where there really isn't like a lot of history about it, like when the Saxons and the Britons like were still rivaling and kind of at war with each other, and so it's like after the reign of King Arthur, and there's lots of like fantasy elements in it. I mean, there's like monsters and dragons and shit like that, but it's not your typical like quest story, right? It's about these two older people, so they're like in their 60s or 70s even. Which is nice to see characters in any sort of media or anything that just aren't like 20 or like late 20s to mid 30 somethings.
It sounds like it's kind of like taking some of like Beowulf, that kind of element to it.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that? Like early adventure becomes famous through that. Years later, adventure rises again, and they're a lot older.
No. It's just the setting. Like the plot itself seems to be a meditation on collective memory and trauma, and so they're right now in the part of the book that I'm in. They're venturing. There seems to be some sort of weird supernatural mist that pervades the area and causes everybody to basically have very limited memory. And this couple decide that they have like these selective memories, and they're going to venture forth to this different town to go find their son, because they have a vague recollection that they have a son, and he lives in some different town, and they're old, and it's dangerous countryside, and so they're going on this quest, right? And they come across some people up to this point, and there's like there's like all these fantasy elements in there, but they're not like tropey or whatever. It's a really interesting backdrop for a story that doesn't necessarily need to take place in this era, but it's just like it was sort of like when Scorsese did Shutter Island. Scorsese does like these mobster movies and stuff like that.
Let's do like an old school horror
thriller. Like, let's just do like this like suspense thriller that really isn't my genre at all, but I'm gonna fucking just cross over and just show you like how you do this genre, right?
That wasn't that hard.
Yeah, it's pretty easy actually. But so far so good. So I'm gonna keep plunking away at it, and it's I have high hopes for it. If it's going remotely where I think it's going, and I'm sure there'll be some twists and stuff. I have a feeling too, if it's anything like Never Let Me Go and Remains of the Day, it's probably just going to be like
they're aliens,
soul-wrenchingly like sad.
Yeah.
Because he's really really good at like just pulling at your heartstrings.
Fucking
like,
sad boy.
Yeah. But also very profound. Like it's just really understated. Like Never Let Me Go is really fucking sad, but really really good. It's probably one of the best novels I've read in 25 years. And he's not one of those writers that's like feels like he needs to write like a 1,000-page fucking book to like make a good point.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like his novels are normal length, like 350 pages or whatever. It's like
He's no George R. R. Martin.
yeah, he's fucking like, oh, it's a 1,000-page fucking book. It's just like
look at this tome I wrote.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know that I can officially recommend it yet because I'm hard pressed to recommend something that I haven't finished. But I can't recommend him highly enough as a writer if you've ever read any of his books.
He has a good track record.
I mean, 2 for 2, like really. But 2 for 2 in the way that like Christopher Nolan was like 2 for 2.
Yeah, it's like
or Ari Aster. Ari Aster is 2 for 2. Fucking Hereditary and Midsommar, and you're like, I want to see what this guy does next.
Yeah, it's like 2 with a bullet.
Yeah.
So like, ooh.
Really good. So
even if it's like middling, it's like, yeah, okay, not bad.
He's written other books too, and I know a guy that's read some of his other books, and he was like, oh, you should read The Unconsoled, and I was like, and that one is long, it's like 600 pages or something, and I was like, I'm gonna try this one, it's more recent too. And it was funny because he was telling me like, he's like, yeah, you should read The Unconsoled, and like I was reading about it like when it came out, and like this is how you know you're a genius, because when it came out, everybody was like, what in the fuck is this? Like all the literary critics and the public and everybody were like, what is this fucking book?
What are you doing?
What is this shit, right? Like this is just like incoherent nonsense, like just the non-linear gibberish. And then fast forward like 10 or 12 years and it's like one of the most highly regarded books of the decade.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then and he's just like, so what I tell you, like you'll catch up, right? Like
you'll get mega big brains sometime.
Yeah, it's like yeah, kind of. And so now it's like, now that it's
sweet summer child, you'll understand.
Yeah, it's like it's the Blade Runner of the literary genre. Yeah. It came out and people were like, "It's okay, I guess." And then fast forward a decade, people were like, "Have you seen this movie Blade Runner? It's fucking awesome!" Like, yeah, that was 10 years ago, dude. Like, where have you been?
No, but really, have you seen it?
Have you seen it? Yeah, and then like everyone's like, "Wow, so good." Like, so it's like that. So that was a pretty strong indicator to me that like this dude's playing 3D chess when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's a westernized Japanese guy.
Okay.
He's English. He grew up in England.
Okay.
But he was raised by Japanese parents. And so he's Japanese and he's English. And so like, and he clearly understands both of those cultures fairly well. And
I thought aren't they originally written in Japanese?
His books?
Yeah.
No, they're English language novels.
Oh, okay.
He writes in English, which for somebody who I imagine it might not be his first language. He is a master of like writing. Like his prose is gorgeous.
Okay.
It's like evocative and like pregnant with emotion without being like sentimental, and it's got like great economy and it flows, and it's just like, man, he's brilliantly, like, even if you didn't care for the story, like his prose is just beautiful.
Let me check that out. Yeah. Because
I
I do have the Never Let Me Go as an audiobook, so
that's a great book. But like if you don't cry at least a little bit, like you probably don't have a soul. Like it's just like you just be prepared to cry a little bit. Like I'm hard pressed to, like, I don't cry at things like ever. That book was like fucking.
She's still in here.
It's tough.
Batman, get away! You farted.
Leave me alone. You know, you're watching a movie and you're just like, oh, it's kind of sad. You're just like, what's the matter? It's nothing. We just only had each other. You know?
It's like watching Up, like the first opening credits of Up. But like if you didn't like get a little misty eye, you're like, this movie's bullshit.
Yeah, and the thing is the rest of the movie's not that good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The rest of the movie's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. He's got some moments with the dog or whatever, but it's just like, but everyone remembers like that opening sequence.
They just fucking punch, he's like punching the guts.
Yeah,
like,
God,
God
the
damn.
feels, have the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to replicate a little bit of that with the, did you see The Incredibles 2?
Yeah, I did.
And that little short they had at the beginning with the little dumpling or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It tries to hit some of those same feels.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
You can't pull that move twice.
It was pretty good, though. You know, it was honestly, it's probably better than the movie itself. The Incredibles 2 is good. It was a fine continuation of the film franchise or whatever. What about you? Any recs?
Recommendation for this week is a YouTube channel called This Old Tony. I think I talked about this off podcast, but I think it's one of the. It's like kind of a machining channel, like machinist channel, because this guy does a lot of like.
You know our demographic.
Yeah. And it's a lot of manual machining stuff. Not too many like CNC stuff, but it's like edutainment almost in a way, but there's a lot of like very creative things that he does. He's very dry humor to him, and it's just like talking hands. It's not even talking head. It's just him talking with his hands and doing these like visual gags while he's trying to educate you a little bit on machining. There's some stuff like I don't do in my job, and I was like, oh, that's interesting to see. But he just like the visual gags that he does is like super creative. You know, if you do machining or you're a hobbyist at it, it's pretty like great information to have. Yeah, just like I just can't believe it's just one guy making this channel.
I appreciate anybody that can be passionate enough about something like machining to try to make it like interesting and accessible to people.
Yeah,
because that's like a really niche thing.
I'm like the nichest of the niche because like right now, because I'm watching a lot of watchmaking videos, and that thing is like any kind of like restoration, like almost any restoration builds. I love watching those things. I don't know why. It's like seeing like how shitty it was in the beginning, and it becomes like almost a pristine piece.
It's like cooking shows.
Yeah, basically it's the same thing.
It's like it's the same thing. Like I used to love This Old House with Bob Vila.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I don't have like a carpenter bone in my body. But I like to watch Bob Vila do it.
Oh yeah.
And like I like to watch people cook gourmet food that I would never eat. Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, it's foie gras. Like he's like, do you like foie gras? Like, no, but look, foie gras. Yeah. Cool, right?
Actually, after the podcast, I'll let you watch a video, like some of it. I don't want to bore you all the way through, but like see how like creative this dude is. He's like probably the most creative person I've seen on YouTube so far.
He's a machinist.
He's a machinist
that's
too.
What's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is too is like, it's like if you have a certain temperament for certain things, it doesn't lend itself, you know, like there's no creative programmers, for instance. Like they just, if you're good at programming, it's because your brain is basically like a robot. And so it doesn't lend itself to like humor and wit and stuff like that. And I would imagine machining is kind of in that category. Like if you're the kind of person that digs machining, you're probably not the kind of person that's like necessarily good on camera or good at like being like
what are you trying to say?
Are you gonna let me finish?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to say if you're a machinist, you suck. No, I'm just saying like to like curate like a thing about machining.
Yeah.
That is like got humor and wit and like, and so we don't talk a lot about machining on this. And if it were a podcast about machining, like I would just sit here staring at you, not knowing like.
Now here's the thing with the data flute: it has a better chip load when you're going vertically, but when you have a slower feed rate, it kind of tends to load up, especially if you have the wrong coating on there.
Yeah.
Like the carbide is an excellent thing to use for it, but high speed steel sometimes does the work too.
Yeah. That carbide really, I get, you know, you want to make sure it doesn't carbide you in the ass. Am I right?
So I tend to like 0 to 1 micrometers because they work pretty good.
That's why I says to my manager the other day, I was like 010111011, and he was like 101011011. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so like it's a machining.
Yeah.
And it's just like if you're inclined to do something like that, you know, it's probably just you're not of the temperament.
I came for the information and stayed for the goofs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool. It's you know, if it can keep my attention for longer than 30 seconds, then it's probably pretty interesting.
Yeah. And there might be some gags there you wouldn't understand, but that's fine. For the most part, like there's little tidbits that you know would recognize as a machinist or someone that does metal work.
Well, he's got a YouTube channel. He must be doing something right. There must be some people that are interested in that enough to have like a YouTube channel that
there's that lane of like the maker space.
Yeah.
Like, but it's more geared towards like cosplay for some reason.
Cosplay.
Like,
Well, you gotta back it up. I don't.
You know, like people that dress up as.
No, I know what cosplay is. Yeah. What the fuck does that have to do with machining?
No, in the maker space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I thought you were just saying like
Because there's a lane
Like,
of
yeah,
people.
you know what I'm saying? Like, people that usually make machine videos, it's like you get a lot of cosplayers that are really into it. I'm
They're
like,
kind of furries too.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, no, I don't. What? So, okay, yeah, I get the maker space.
Yeah.
Space. So yeah,
Yeah.
That's weird. But yeah, those people like there's a good example. If you're somebody who is into cosplay,
Mhm.
you're probably like a natural kind of like just naturally flamboyant person
Oh,
by
yeah.
nature, and so it would be conducive.
No,
to
they're
having,
just really shy and they're just dressed up as like a big tank. Like, okay, I'm a tank.
I really like GI Joe.
Uh-huh.
And what I did here is it's
See how it lights up?
It's like got it so
Yeah.
sort of had texture
Uh-huh.
like it used to in the old cartoon. Because I like the old cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mega nerd culture is usually those like costume makers or like prop makers too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like they take their time by like freeze framing a movie and it's like getting the measurements right, getting this and getting the paint right for all this stuff. Like I don't have enough time to do that.
Oh, you see some of those costumes though, and you're like, yeah, those look dope as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Just not something I would want to do.
I bet you those guys are dying inside right now. It's
Yeah.
like, I need my collection only 20 quid.
I don't know. Some people know how to make really beautiful cakes,
Yeah.
and like that's
What's a lovely sponge?
I don't get that. Cakes are to be eaten. Like, look how beautiful it is. Like, you're just gonna cut it open and eat it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't get it.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, moving on.
I think that does it for this week.
All right. Okay.
All
Yeah, that
right.
sounds right.
We're trying out the new format. If you guys like the new format, write us. If you don't, write us. We love to know.
Yeah.
You know,
Give us criticisms.
yeah. But you know, with 10 listeners, you can't be wrong, right?
Yeah.
We must be doing something right.
Yeah. It's double digits.
Yeah, that's more than one.
It's more than 0, which is, my mom, my old lady. My mom probably doesn't listen to the podcast. I don't even think she knows I do that. Like, she's just like, oh, that's a thing. I've mentioned it in passing, and it's like,
Oh my God, you work for NPR now? You work for This American Life? Wow, that's really good for you.
like my uncle be like, you a cat? I'm like, yeah.
Uh-huh. Does he listen to it? Oh, he listened to a couple episodes, like the first 5, I think, right?
I don't know how many he's listened to. Here's what I assume is whatever people say that they listen to, I just kind of deduct like 2/3 of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I've listened to a few. It's like you listen to half of one.
Yeah.
Like you haven't. Like you just don't.
And it's very strange because I see the numbers and it's like, wow, there's a lot of, it's consistently the same number. So it's like, it's not by accident. It's not like like people just like find it on like Stitcher or like Spotify and
Yeah.
play it. It's just consistently the same number almost every time.
Yeah.
Except for a few of them. I don't, maybe because I wrote the title all fucked up.
My buddy Matt listens. I'm pretty sure he listens to it at
Mhm.
least pretty close to every week. 'Cause
Hey, buddy.
He's like, hey man, how's it going? Because he'll text me something like
Oh, yeah?
in relation to the podcast,
Okay.
like something like, oh my god, like yeah, I thought
Yeah.
the same thing or whatever.
Did he
And,
actually watch his podcast?
No, he said he's still trying to work out the kinks.
Oh.
He's like, I
No,
don't
just
know.
do it, man. Fuck it. That's what you have to do.
He's like, I don't know. I was like, and I was listening to this week's and I was like, I fucking had a better title. I can't remember what it was. I was like, man, that's what we should have titled it, and I like didn't think of it like before you put it up.
Sometimes I come up with okay ones and then, yeah. Well,
Yeah. We're here at a party.
yeah, we're in a party. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, but like when I was listening to it, like something jumped out at me. And I was
okay.
like, that's what we should have titled it like that for this week.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't make those decisions, so I probably should have weighed in earlier. Like, fucking,
I used to ask you about them, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it anyway.
I don't want to fucking input in this bullshit. Say words into the microphone, monkey.
I gotta do something.
Make the words. But yeah. So write us and tell us stuff.
Or if you have like suggestions for cigars that you should be smoking for review, or products that you're kind of wondering about, maybe we have it at the shop and we can, test it out for a
or
week.
troll us. Tell us to smoke something that's really awful that you really fucking hate, so you can hear us complain about how terrible it is.
Wow, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be very short, but
Yeah.
yeah, because I usually just smoke a little bit and just fucking toss it away. I was like, I'm not smoking.
No,
that.
you gotta
I'm
smoke.
not wasting my time with
someone,
this.
If someone sends us a rec, we have to smoke the whole thing.
If you
and complain about it the whole time.
if you email us and then you actually mail us those cigars, and as long as you don't like touch your wang before you send it out.
Hey, it could be for JJ's. You don't know. You
Yeah.
could have a whole subgroup of female demographics that
Yeah, your girlfriend.
I don't know, females. You know, a whole bunch of them out there.
Yeah.
3 of them that all listen.
You, and you probably all know.
Nah, I don't know. Well, I would say a good chunk of the. Here's the thing: it's like women are nicer than men. So like the women I know, and my friend Claire and my cousin Sabrina, like they're probably more inclined to watch.
Oh
to,
yeah,
like,
that was a good podcast.
to like listen more frequently,
Uh-huh.
like and like actually like, try to be supportive.
Uh-huh.
Where guys are like, I don't want to listen to that shit. But we're friends, man. Like I don't care. Fuck your shit. I don't care. I don't care about your stupid thing that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do to help support my shit?
Uh-huh.
Nothing. Like, yeah, okay, fuck off then.
Yeah, during the lockout, I have been noticing there's like a more of an influx of people making podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's just, you know, you got to work out the kinks. And we're still working out the kinks.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole like grab you like the first minute, but we just kind of banter on. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You gotta get some good thumbnails.
Yeah, I need.
I
Yeah.
gotta just have my old lady just walk in the background. It's like shake her boobs, like thumbnail, thumbnail boobs, boob thumbnail.
All right.
People like boobs.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have them, so you know, what men? I don't know. What do ladies like?
I don't know.
Yep.
Not me.
Yeah. Join the club. We need to
Not a
start.
pig.
We need to start talking about the British baking show,
Oh, yeah.
which I watched.
Uh-huh.
We need to start talking about clothes.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about a little segment on clothes,
Fashion.
fashion.
What kind of products are you using on your face?
Yeah, skincare.
Yeah.
Just being mean to people of the same sex
Uh-huh.
competitively.
Uh-huh.
Other stuff
Uh-huh.
that chicks like sewing. I don't know. Is that like a thing people do still?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So you gotta figure out what the ladies like.
What did the Red Scare ladies talk about? They just rail on woke culture. That's pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, I don't listen to them with any regularity. I listen to like a few of their podcasts,
Mhm.
and I like them, but I'm not like a follower or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Mhm.
So, like they're cool.
Actually, what podcast do you listen to regularly?
Don't
With any regularity?
I don't listen to any. It's just touch and go. Like if I see an episode of a podcast that I think sounds interesting,
Hmm.
you know, Radio Lab or whatever, like it's like, oh, sounds interesting. I'll listen to that. But like,
Yeah, some interesting Rogan interviews.
yeah, Rogan or
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's a few other ones. Like I listen to Bill Burr's podcast every now and again,
Mhm.
and but yeah, it's mostly just random shit
Mhm.
like that. I sounds like an interesting episode, and so I'll listen to it.
Hmm.
But I don't have a lot of listen time. Like I listen when I drive to and from work,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah, because I have that advantage of like listening and working at the same time. at
yeah,
a
I
machine
listen.
shop.
I listen on my drive. So my drive here from home, and then like I'll usually listen to music, and then I like to listen to our podcast to see if there's
Just totally fuck up.
yeah, like speaking of which, this before we end the evening, like we were gonna 15 minutes ago,
Uh-huh.
but I actually looked up what the like. Remember last week we were like, I wonder where that phrase "bells and whistles" came from.
Yeah.
And it pretty much came where we thought it, like in the late 18th, early 19th century.
Like carriage makers and car makers.
Mostly for like fire trucks
Ah.
and like things for like the Salvation Army that were more like would need to get your attention. That's like there wasn't a lot of detail that I could find on it, but it was like it wasn't typically associated with like cars per se,
Mhm.
but like certain thing. What was the other example they gave? It was like Salvation Army, and then like I think military stuff.
Mm.
It was like things that would need to like broadcast that they're important to like get out of their way, ambulances and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's where that phrase comes from, and then it just kind of got co-opted as like
A sales
a
pitch.
thing that's like shiny and like
Mhm.
interesting,
Mhm.
bells and whistles, something that draws attention to itself
Ah.
is pretty much what we had guessed. But I couldn't really find a lot of information. But that was what I got. But we were pretty close on the era and the origin. So
Good to know we're right about something sometimes.
well, some things just seem intuitive. You just kind of go like, I bet it was Who invented that? I don't know. Thomas Edison, I'm guessing. It was like fucking, if you had to
That
guess,
thief.
if you just had to guess, it was probably Thomas Edison or Da Vinci.
Uh-huh.
Like, those people invented like 90% of the things in the world.
Uh-huh.
It's like the first IBM computer was Thomas Edison.
Wow.
He did it. It was him.
It was an Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Abraham Lincoln. He invented liberty, emancipation. He invented that.
Or like Ben Franklin, he just lies about inventing stuff. Yeah, I made that.
I'm the smartest guy around. Who's gonna say otherwise?
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was just shut up, quiet over there.
Check out this sec chair I made.
Shut up. What you think, Washington? Remember how smart I am? I got glasses. I invented bifocals. That was me.
Did you?
Actually, it was that guy. Just shut up over there.
With your slave teeth.
Yeah, your slave teeth. You go bang some of my old lady mistresses.
Yeah, just drop my seed in them.
They don't even have no babies anymore. You know?
All right, that does it for this week. That's it for you.
That's it for me.
Don't be a fool. Wash your hands before you eat the gabagool. Ciao, baby.
Thanks for listening to Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. Consider subscribing. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And you can also write us with any ideas, suggestions, or horrible burning criticism at mikeyandthepresspass@gmail.com. Thank you.